So greetings to everybody. Namaskar, salam, and good evening. I may not stick to the topic, me warn you. So, I'm going to start without wasting time. आज हिंदी में नहीं बोल सकता हूँ. I can't speak in Hindi because there are many people who do not understand Hindi, and I can't talk Malayalam because I don't think many people. So, English. I'm going to start with a little story for you, so that you know what you expect to hear from me. There used to be in fact, I feel quite uncomfortable without a microphone. It's all here. So, anyway, so there was a king in the north of India, in a place called Patiala, who at one time wanted to expand his kingdom. So, in those days, if you had to expand your kingdom, they had to take the permission and help from the Mughal emperor who sat in Delhi. So there was the last Mughal emperor, Bahadur Shah Zafar, who was arrested by the British during the Independence Revolution and deported to Burma later. So this is just before that. So this king from Punjab, a place called Patiala, went all the way to Delhi. He must have gone on the horse in those days. And after waiting for 2 or 3 days, he could get an audience with the Emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar in Delhi. He met him and he said, I have come to take your permission, your help, some arms, some army, and so on. First permission, of course, to expand my territories. So the king said, the emperor said, well, that is a good idea. I can help you. I can give you permission. I can also give you a commandant, a captain too, and some army, ammunition, arms, everything. But I have one question. What if after expanding your kingdom, the captain who I send, the commander of the army who I send to help you, wants to claim that territory? What will you do? You might be a powerful man, so you might lose even your kingdom. What will you do? Okay, second question. He said, go to the window and look down. So the emperors used to stay in the Red Fort, which is a huge palace. Look out from the window. So he went and looked out of the window. Under a tree, wearing only a small loincloth, with a begging bowl in his hand, there sat a fakir. You know what is a fakir? F-A-K-I-R, fakir, or F-A-Q-I-R, fakir, whatever. There was a fakir sitting there. He had a begging bowl in his hand, he was sitting under a tree, and he was smiling away, laughing to himself and looking up. So, the emperor told the king, you saw the fakir's face? It's full of happiness and bliss. He said, yes, sir. And look at the face, my face. I am the emperor of Delhi. Look at my sad face. Do you see the difference? He said, yes. Okay. So he said, think about it for a month and come back to me. Then, if you still need help to expand your territory, I'll give you the help. Story is that this king from Patiala went away and never came back. Some years passed, because the king had disappeared, his brother took over the kingdom and became the king. So after some years, then king of Patiala, who is his brother, decided to go on a pilgrimage to the holy places in India, in the mountains, they call Char Dham, Badri, Kedar and so on. So when the king goes, there's a whole retinue of people coming. So many people, army, everybody went. They reached a place called Rishikesh, which is very famous for two things. One is, of course, it's a religious place where yogis live in ashrams. Other is it's also used by people who smoke cannabis to enjoy themselves. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Now people from Delhi come on picnics every Saturday, Sunday. And the place is full of plastic cups. That's a different story. But anyway, so he went to Rishikesh. When he reached Rishikesh, somebody told him, you're going on a big pilgrimage, dangerous times, even now it's difficult to go to Kerala. Days it was very difficult, so please take the blessings of a saint and then go. So he said, where is the saint? So they said, if you go to a place called Lakshman Jhula, it's still there. If you go to Rishikesh, you can see Lakshman Jhula. There's a cave there. In India, kings are called Maharaj. Holy men are also called Maharaj. Sometimes cooks are also called Maharaj. Holy men are called Maharaj and kings are called Maharaj. So the then king, put his hands together in front of this great yogi and said, Maharaj, we are going on a pilgrimage. Please give your blessings. So the yogi said, Tatha astu, which means, may you be blessed. So be it. So be it. When he heard the voice, the king said, oh, this is the voice of my brother who had disappeared for so many years, elder brother. So he said, brother, I am the king because you disappeared. Please come back to your kingdom. It's waiting for you. This yogi said to the brother, to the king, when you came in, what did you call me? He said, I called you Maharaj. Yes? What does it mean? Emperor? Yes. I am the emperor of the universe. Why would I come to Patiala, to this little state of yours? You get what I am trying to say? So, now I am sitting here. What is it so special? I look like anybody else. Why do people come to hear me? Is it because of IT or YouTube? Or this is iTube, not YouTube. Why do people come? What is it that attracts? If I go and stay far away somewhere, still people find their way. I'm now wondering where to go and live. Wherever you go, there are people finding you. What is it that brings people? Why do they come? What do they see in this ordinary man? Look, I don't have any paraphernalia. Do I have matted hair? Do I have a flowing beard which is so long that you need to stuff it inside your collar? No. Do I wear any special clothes? No, this is Indian dress, right? So what is it that attracts people? Why do people come? There must be something. Is it because I talk well? No. Even if you sit silent, people come. So what is it that... This is what I wanted to tell you. The subject of today's talk is that in the center, in the core of everybody's consciousness... Now, one more thing. I have been sent into this world by my master to teach people that to be spiritual, you don't have to change your robes or run away into the, I did of course, run away into the cave, that you should live in this world, be like everybody else, not be like, at least pretend to be. I'm not normal actually, I'm a little bit, you can say, I'm not schizophrenic, but I'm abnormal. So, but be like everybody else, live in this world, eat and drink with everyone. I'm not talking about the spirit that comes in the bottle, but and talk to you like friends, welcome questions from you, and give this understanding to people that to be spiritual is more a thing of the heart, of your core, than the outside pretensions and paraphernalia. This is my job. So, with that, let me start. So therefore, this understanding I want to tell you. People come to me because there seems to be some energy. There seems to be something like which attracts people. What is it? I'm saying that every one of you, no exceptions, in the core of your being, there is the source of all energy that pervades the universe. It's a spark of the divine that is in every one of us. It's the same energy that operates the universe. A small spark of that is in every one of us, in the core of our being. In the Hindu system of thought, it's called the Atman. And the Atman comes from the Paramatman, which is the Supreme Being. It is the breath that was breathed into us when we were born. If you read the religious texts of some other religion other than Hinduism, it says, man made God and then breathed the breath of life into him. Now this breath of life is what is in every human being. To connect with that is the movement towards the spiritual. Now it has some rules and regulations, because you can't, like, you want to study nuclear physics, there are certain rules you need to follow. You need to wear gloves, you need to wear protective dress, because if you go into a nuclear reactor without that, you might end up dead. So there are some rules. But believe me, this core of your consciousness, which I am talking about, is not less powerful than a nuclear bomb. It has all the potentials that are required. And we human beings have the good fortune of possessing this diamond, this wealth in each one of us. In India, we have a wonderful text called the Bhagavad Gita. Something very important to note. This Bhagavad Gita, which is called the Song of the Lord, was not preached in a cave or in the forest, unlike many other Upanishads which were taught in the forest academies. It was taught in the middle of a battlefield, the battlefield of Kurukshetra, where Arjuna and Krishna are sitting close to each other. This whole system is taught to Arjuna, because Arjuna, the one who is listening, the student, and Krishna here being the teacher, is the only place in the Mahabharata where Krishna becomes a teacher. Till then he is doing various other things. In Vrindavan he cavorts with the gopis. He manipulates the war and advises people how to do. He does all that. But in the Gita, he becomes a Jagadguru. He teaches, a universal teacher. Arjuna is the student. Now, It has 18 chapters, this particular text. And the first chapter is called Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Vishada means sorrow, pain, insecurity, uncertainty. Put all these together. Sanskrit is an ancient language. Many meanings put together in one word. Arjuna Vishada Yoga. So why? Why does the first chapter begin with Arjuna's sorrow? Because all human beings, all of us, generally turn towards the spiritual path and begin to wonder if there is anything beyond only when some kind of sorrow strikes us. Till then we are okay. Everything is fine, okay. God is there, okay. Salam, go on. Then you begin to understand, is there something beyond only when you are in trouble? So, which is why Vyasa wrote the first chapter of the Gita as Arjuna Vishada Yoga. So when people come to me and say, you are not very spiritual, I said, very nice, let it be. It's fine, no problem. Let's be friends. Gradually you discover that there is something in me which is very blissful and happy and attractive. Then you begin to look, is this also in me? This is the search. So there are two ways the search happens. One is when one is hit by circumstances which are beyond our control, which give us pain and sorrow. And then we say, what next? Is there anything else? Why is God not helping me? What is the point? How do I find this? This is one way. The other way is when you find somebody who probably has experienced this. Then you find there is some energy in this person. And I begin to wonder, why can't I have this? Why do I not share this? Where is this coming from? The most difficult circumstances, the person seems to have a calm, quiet mind. How is this possible? Because what we are searching for in the outside world is right there inside us. I'm not saying you should wind up your businesses and wind everything and go and sit in the cave. Nothing will happen. My master used to tell me, if you sit in a cave for 10 years and practice meditation 10 hours a day, and then say that now I'm free of anger, I'm peaceful, I have no desire, there is nobody in the cave to get angry with, first of all. Okay? And would you be jealous of the walls of the cave? What is there to get upset? Are you angry with the cave? It's only when you come out of the cave, get into a bus, and somebody kicks you on your toe, especially if it is a stiletto heel, then you know where you stand, right? So, the test for a spiritual life is living in this world. I understand. So, in the beginning, periods of solitude are good. But you can't stay there all the time. You need to come out to this world. Now, why did I say that? There must be some connecting link. Anybody? Why? Please tell me. Tell me something, please. This is a dialogue. Huh? And worldly life, yes. So, therefore, got it. So, therefore, what I want to teach, what I teach, what I want to convey to you is that while living in this world, you know how busy Dubai is usually. While living in this world, while going about your daily life, is there a possibility that you can also turn in within and see the jewel that you carry with you? Another great yogi came from Galilee. Said, lay treasures in your heart where thieves do not break in and steal. And what is Krishna saying to Arjuna? Arjuna, look within. Inside you is the self which can neither die because it was never born, and it is a spark of the all-pervading divinity. Rejoice in your inner self. And don't run away from the battle, go forward. Don't give up and run back. Right? So this is the teaching. So you'll say, is there a technique? Before that, I want to tell you something. Wait for a minute. Reminder. Okay. So, in India, in the city of Banaras, many of you must have been to Banaras, right? City of Banaras on the Ganga. There lived a saint who was actually a weaver. So people call him a weaver saint. His name was Kabir Das. And he said something very interesting. He said, the example of a Kasturi Mriga. You know what a Kasturi Mriga is? You know what is Kasturi? Musk, which is used in perfumes. Musk. And the Himalayas, upper Himalayas, there's a particular variety of deer. Not D-E-A-R, D-E-E-R, deer, which is called the Kasturi deer, the musk deer. Under its belly, there's a little pouch. So every year, certain season, musk is produced in the pouch, Kasturi. And there is this beautiful fragrance in the air, wafting in the air. This poor deer, here I am saying D-E-A-R, deer, this poor deer goes around searching all over the forest, poking its snout into thorny bushes and bleeding, searching for the origin of the fragrance, not knowing that it is coming from its own belly button. Kabir said, this is our problem. The treasure is here, and we seek for it everywhere. And if you have found it here, you have found it everywhere. What is this? What are the signs of somebody who has found it here? Again, I need to go back to the Gita. It is my subject, so I can't help. Now, there is a particular chapter called Bhakti Yoga in the Gita, the 12th chapter. I usually do that whole chapter when I start in a new place, any satsang, but we don't have time for the whole chapter. But in this chapter, Arjuna asks Krishna, tell me the qualities of a great yogi, of a great man. How does a great saint live? What are the qualities by which we can distinguish a great saint, or a great yogi, or a great devotee? Because in this particular chapter, Krishna often says, Yaha bhakta same priya, this devotee is dear to me. Sometimes he says yogi, sometimes he says devotee. So Arjuna asks Krishna, can you define the qualities of a person? Not the modus operandi of how he prays. This differs around the world from place to place. But the qualities or attributes of a person who we can call a yogi or a great devotee. He says, because if you say, I will accept it. There is no other authority for me than you. So Krishna says to Arjuna, okay, here are the three attributes. No matter how he worships the divine, what form or without form or with attribute, whichever way he worships, if these attributes and character is present in a person, I call him the greatest of saints, the greatest of yogis. So, Arjuna, what are these? He says first, in Sanskrit, I love the language one. One who has control, samniyam indriya gramam, one who has control over his emotions and his senses. One. Not that you should become a monk. You should have, instead of the senses running away with the mind, let's put the mind, the reins of the senses should be with your mind. They will move only when you want them to move. So, the first attribute is samniyam indriya gramam. Control over one's emotions. One emotion like anger, if you can control, you won the game. Very often in anger, we take all wrong decisions. Can we be cool about this? Okay. Second qualification, sarvatra samabuddhaya, which means under all circumstances, can the mind be tranquil and not get shaken? Because this world is full of circumstances. You can't control the circumstances. You need to adjust according to the circumstances. So when you have profit or loss, fear, can the mind remain quiet and tranquil under all circumstances? Sarvatra sama buddhaya. Third, this is very important. Sarva bhuta hite rata, one who has the welfare of all human beings in his heart. You know why? Most of our problems are because we are too self-centered. We don't think of the problems of others. People usually say, no, I'm a good person, I don't need to do all this. Why? Because I look after my children, I am happy with it. Okay? The monkeys also look after their children. It is built in. The chicken, the hen looks after the chicken. It's all built in the biological system. But if you say, I look after my neighbor's child, you're different. You're changing. Much of our problems are because we are always self-centered. Our problems, always crying about. You don't open your eyes and look at the other person's problem. If you look at the other person's problem, you will see how insignificant my problems are, but we won't do that. And if you see that, you want to do something about it, which is called thinking of the welfare of all living beings. Some people are there. They don't believe in meditation, they don't believe in God. All right, fine. But they do selfless service to others. I'm saying they are also great saints. Because by serving those who are in trouble, you're actually serving the Lord. Because even in their hearts is a spark of that supreme all-pervading reality. Okay. Now this is the, what you call the Google map which we have drawn. Now Google is God for most people, is big G. Right? You get all information there, wrong information also sometimes. Right? So, if that is the case, is there a way by which we can touch that? Because if you touch that jewel which is in us, which is a spark of the divine, you can first be free yourself and you can do a lot of good to other people. Is there a way of doing that? I would say yes. But start with at least 10 minutes of quiet meditation every day. If you don't want to do throughout the day and things like that, set apart 10 minutes every morning or evening where you are yourself and nobody is interfering with you, where you let go of your mind and allow the mind to be at rest. When the mind is at rest, it's never at rest. It's very interesting. You try keep putting the mind to rest, it will recoil in double strength. It's everybody's experience. You say, I'm going to be quiet, then the thoughts come. You say, I'm going to relax my mind. It becomes tense. It's a daily experience. So is there a possibility to do that? Can the mind be free of all conflicting thoughts? Can the mind be free of all agitation, tension, opposing views? We are saying yes. Some people say no, not possible. I am saying yes. So how do you do that? Today somebody came to interview me. I was discussing exactly this. He said, how do we live sane in this digital world? I said, digital is not the problem. You are the problem. Digital can be good and bad. If there is no digital, how are we going to sit here? Now the whole world, many people will be listening to this talk. If there was no digital, how would they go? How can you put something live? Not possible. So it's the fault is not the fault of digital, YouTube and so on, it's mine, my heart. If my mind can change, no matter what digital happens, I'm okay. So, how do I do that? First, the inner spark, which is called the Jiva, which is a spark of the divine. Today, a lady who I know for many years asked me, oh, you're saying meditate, but I can't bring myself to do that. I've been trying for so many years. I said, first, maybe your entire mind is not on it. You still may not have realized the importance of it. If you do, you'll do it. If I'm hungry, I'll eat. That hunger has not yet come. Comes during various circumstances, it happens. Okay. So I decide, okay. Somebody told me, M told me, that if the mind is calm, it's full of energy. I can tune into the universal energy. But my mind cannot be calm because it is always agitated, various thoughts come. This is the nature of the mind. I'm not denying it. It's a fact. Now, how do we go about calming the mind so that the energy that we have comes in full force? The mind is like nature. You know that nature abhors the vacuum? If you try to create a vacuum, air tries to rush in. This is the nature. And the nature of the mind is, if you try to make it quiet, more thoughts come into it. It's the nature of the mind. So what do I do? Here, there are many approaches to this. I have one approach which anybody can practice daily and gradually improve. And that is, it is futile to say that I want to keep my mind quiet. It cannot happen. Because I am already there. I am trying to keep my mind quiet. I am the problem. So what do I do? The problem is that my mind is occupied by innumerable thoughts. Innumerable. There is no count. Now I am saying I want to quiet. It's not possible. It's a fact. So what do I do? Can I shift the mind to one thought so that it is not distracted by many? And something not connected to the outside world. Something which is not in any way connected to the outside world. Is there anything like that within us which is not connected to the outside world but is common to all human beings? Breath. Irrespective of race, sex, gender, there is one thing which is common to all of us, the breath. Right? Whether you like it or not, from the embryo onwards, breathing starts. You don't say breathe and therefore you breathe. It's automatic. And when it stops, what happens? In Gujarat, they say off ho gaya, finished. It's over. In Malayalam, in Kerala, they say pancharai. That means no air in the tube, punctured. And so it's so important. It goes on, not under our control. Okay. What I'm trying to say is give you a proposition here. This breath, which is so important, You can live without water for some time. You can live without food for some time. Half a minute you cannot live without breath, normally, unless you are a great yogi who doesn't need to breathe. You can't. So before I proceed, shall I tell you another story? I see some people are getting little bored. Huh? There was a great yogi who lived in Banaras, near the Ganga, whose name was Shamacharan Lahiri Mahasaya. So his friend's son became a doctor. So he told him, his father told him, since you are going to join medical practice in Banaras, my friend Lahiri lives there, he's a great yogi, go and meet him and take his blessings and then go to work. So he said, okay. He didn't know, he was innocent. So he took his little bag with the stethoscope and everything, and he went there and he saw this man sitting cross-legged in his parlor. So he paid his respects and said, my father, oh, he said, okay, your son, okay. So I have become a doctor. He said, okay, very good. So then he said, according to you, according to your medical science, what are the symptoms of a dead person? So he said, first the breath stops, pulse stops. After a while the solar plexus also becomes cold. If these symptoms are there, we declare the person as clinically dead. Okay? So have you got your stethoscope with you? He said, yes, sir. He said, after 2 minutes, please check me. Huh? And he sat like this and took 2 deep breaths. The guy waited, then he checked. After a while, he found that there is no breathing, there is no heartbeat, there is no pulse. And then he put his hand on the solar plexus, it was becoming cold. He thought this guy died in front of me just now. And it's going on for 5 minutes, 6 minutes, he's waiting. This guy is dead. So he made a lot of noise. So the whole family came running. What is it? He said, this guy in front of me just died. He said, no, he'll come back, you please relax. But why I'm saying this is because, except for yogis like that, we need to breathe. Breath is so important. After half a minute, you feel suffocated if you don't breathe, right? It's so important. Yet, why I'm saying this, we don't give any attention to it. In fact, we don't even know how to breathe properly. If we knew how to breathe properly, half of COVID could have been avoided. We don't know how to fill our lungs with oxygen. I've had several talks during the COVID season with the WHO and various other health authorities, basically to teach how to breathe. Okay. Now this breath, therefore, is our life. It's so important. I'm saying for a change, at least for 10 minutes to 15 minutes in a day, can we give attention to our breath, which is so important. How do you do that? Sit quietly. Now what will happen? If you try to stop the mind from functioning, it's not going to work because it is always occupied. So occupy it. Don't try to stop it. Occupy it internally with the breath. Watch the breath. It's called breath work. Watch the breath. How do you watch the breath? As you inhale, and I'm not going to teach you Kriya Yoga now, please, but as a simple technique. As you inhale and as you exhale, give complete attention to your inhalation and exhalation. This is practically something that they do in Vipassana, for instance, roughly. Vipassana simply means awareness. Be aware of your breath as it goes in, as it goes out. Now what has happened? You are not keeping the mind unoccupied. You are keeping the mind occupied with your breath, therefore it's free of other occupations. The mind cannot be kept without occupation. Occupy it with the breath. When it is occupied with the inhalation and exhalation, slowly you will find that the rhythm of the breathing also slows down. I'm saying this because I wanted to give you something practical, not just talk theory and run away. So, as you watch with complete attention, the breath coming and going out, you will notice after some time the rhythm of the breath slows down remarkably. In the beginning you might feel like taking a deep breath, yes. After that, becomes very slow. And the slower the breath, the slower the movement of the mind. And finally, when you begin to enjoy that quietness of the slow breath with complete attention, you're hooked to the enjoyment inside, therefore you are free of the enjoyment outside. And since you are not engaged outside, you are going deeper into your inner mind. As you go into deeper recesses of your mind, to the core of your consciousness, you suddenly discover that you are not this body but something else. You may call it Jiva, you may call it Ruh, you may call it what you want. These are different names. The essence of our being, which is in us, which is a spark of the divine. And it is so simple, it's not so difficult. You don't need elaborate rituals to reach there. You just need to understand this much, that going in is a very important part of our life. Because all the time we are outside. This going in Vedanta is called the Nivritti Marga. It's opposed to the Pravritti Marga. Not opposed to, in parallel to the Pravritti Marga. So, this is the idea I came here to give you. There's no point in rambling. You can do the Upanishad. But if you do the Upanishad, ultimately, this is the essence. Right? You can do the Gita from chapter to chapter, it will take many days. What is the essence? Going within and seeing the spark inside. And this spark is common to all human beings. The Ishavasya Upanishad says, Ishavashyamidam sarvam, that Supreme Being pervades everything here. Yatkincha jagatyam jagat, this entire universe which moves. You see, movement is an attribute of the Supreme. There's nothing that does not move. Do you know anything that does not move? Time moves, life moves. 25 years ago my beard was black, now it is white. Since I don't practice the art of dyeing, I leave it like that. So, everything moves. There is nothing that does. But there is a center which is quiet. And that center is the core of our being. Everything moves, but it remains quite tranquil. If you touch that, even taste a little bit of that, you're free. No problem in the world is going to have any effect on you. That doesn't mean you don't try to solve problems, you do. But you know in the ultimate essence that you have touched the core of your being and you're in the bliss of that being. This is what I came to tell you. Now, you are open to a dialogue on this. If I ask all the people to ask me questions, I will be sitting here till 12 midnight. So, we have adopted the procedure of having questions written and given to me so that I can open them and read. Is that okay? Or you want to directly indulge in it? Has anybody given any questions? Oh, how many million? This world is full of questions. Thank you. So what I'm going to do is like a lucky dip. Put my hand inside and pick up one of the questions. Okay? This way? Okay. It's like the lottery. And please give me the freedom not to answer some questions, because they may be questions which are very personal, which are not. Now here is the first question. Who is God? What does he look like? I wish I could answer this question. First of all, to ask who is God is a little bit of a complicated question. You can only say what is God. Normally when we say God, we mean the energy that creates, preserves and destroys. This is what we mean by God. G, to generate. O, to operate what is generated. And D, to destroy what is created. This is what we mean by God normally. It's a universal energy from which the world is produced and where it is preserved and then it ends. Now when you say ends, it is not actually destruction, it is regeneration. Because if without the old dying off, there is no space for the new. Right? So it's a natural process, nothing to be afraid of. A person who has understood his inner being is not afraid of death, because you know that the body dies but you are not. You're moving out to another realm. So anyway, if you say what does he look like, if you are thinking of the concept of God, it is so infinite that I don't think any of our senses can capture it. So it's difficult to say what does he look like. However, people have thought of this supreme energy in the form of great manifestations from these energy which have happened before. So the rishis have said, he could be like this, he could be like this, he could be. The problem is to say that this is the only real. Depending on the number of thousands of people there are, you can conceive of God in 1,000 ways. It all depends on how you look at it. That formless being, which the Upanishads have described as the Supreme Brahman, Parabrahman, can manifest itself in many forms. If you love your little baby, you can consider that as an emanation of God. You're so free to do that. The problem comes when I say only this is right, the other is wrong. This is where the problem arises. So, your first question, the supreme energy which operates in this universe, which generates, operates and finally destroys, as I said, does not destroy but transfers, transforms. This is God. And if you say, what does he look like? It will look like anything that you want to imagine or nothing that you imagine. It can also be the Parabrahman of the Upanishads, which has no form. If you want to conceive of it with form, any form you look or think of it, or any symbol you think can be your God. Let me tell you that since every human being carries a spark of the divine in their hearts, all of us are moving, talking, thinking temples of God. Because where does God sit? In the temple. We are moving temples of God. So there are many. This many is actually from one. There's only one. Okay? I hope some answer to this question. I'm putting it out because I don't want to mix and again pick up the same question. Let me see my luck. What is that? Do I read the name? Not required. You travel the Himalayas barefoot, as you mentioned. That even your guru, the great Babaji, was barefoot all the time. Is there any significance, or advantage of practicing Kriya Yoga barefoot. But nowadays I don't walk barefoot. I wear socks and shoes. Well, my teacher, Babaji, walked barefoot because he was accustomed to walking barefoot. There is no connection with Kriya. You can wear shoes, you can wear tennis shoes, you can wear walking shoes and still practice Kriya. But when you practice, don't wear shoes, take them off. Somebody said, when you go to a gathering, to a spiritual gathering, and when you take off your shoes, in your mind, imagine that you are leaving your ego there and coming. So, while you practice spiritual exercises, it is difficult to wear shoes, and this is practical, so you don't have to. But there is no connection between always walking barefoot and practicing Kriya. There is no connection. Well, if you walk barefoot, you connect with the energy of the earth, yes, understood. But you cannot always connect with the energy of the earth because you also have to protect your feet. What I am trying to say is that use some common sense also. Because Babaji said, didn't wear, he did not only wear footwear, he did not wear woolen clothes. I have seen him walking barefoot on the Gangotri glacier, but he was very careful about me. When I went into the cold regions, he used to say, "Muffler le aaya? Do you have a muffler? Are you wearing socks? Are you wearing shoes?" He said, if you imitate me, you'll die. So, one has to also use some common sense. For the important line in this question, there is no advantage of practicing Kriya Yoga just because you are barefoot all the time. If you go to the Himalayas, you will find lots of Sherpas who carry you up the mountain. They are all barefoot. They are not Kriya Yogis. There are many barefoot people. They are not Kriya Yogis. Right? When you go to Shabarimala, you go barefoot. So all the people who go up are not yogis. So use common sense. Don't imitate Babaji. It's not possible. I couldn't myself. Nice question. Relevant to modern times. I won't use the name. Question number 1. Can we be spiritual and connected to God as well as be a party animal? Good question. Relevant question. You can be a party human being as long as you don't become a party animal. You know what I mean? Even I go to parties. When there is a wedding, people invite you. You go to a party. But you don't have to do everything that everybody does. You can still go to a party, enjoy yourself, and come back. You don't have to imitate somebody. The problem starts when I start imitating. Well, this guy near me, he had one drink, so I must have two. Why? Because I'm bigger than him. So, you can be spiritual and connected to God even if you go to a party, but don't become a party animal. You know what I mean? 2. If one feels with total conviction that he or she has seen God, how would you interpret it? It's an individual thing. I cannot interpret it. But if after going to a party, this is connected to the second, you are fully drunk or have smoked up, you know what I mean, and say that I have seen God, I have to be a little doubtful. Okay? I can't interpret it. Maybe you have in your own way, but I can't say, no comments on that. So nowadays parties are like that, Even if you go to a party, please protect your glass. Because when you turn, somebody might put a pill into it. And that's the end of it. This is the question. Because somebody is asking, if I go to a party, what should I drink? I'm not an expert. Not this. Can you please, very good question, can you please advise if there is any specific timings we should follow to practice Kriya Yoga on a daily basis for working people? I leave for work at 5:30 a.m. and return around 5:30, 6:30 p.m. Kindly guide me. Yeah. Of course, the best time for the practice, not only Kriya Yoga, any devotional practice, any yogic practice, any Kriya. Kriya simply means a method, a technique, is early in the morning. Best time. Why? Because the noise has not started. People are just woken up, the minds are fresh. Morning is the best time. But you're saying the person who has written this said that she goes to work at 5:30 in the a.m. and returns around 5:30. So if you need to meditate, you need to meditate before that. So that means you're advancing your waking time a little further up. If you can do it, it is good. If you cannot do it, then when you come back from work, 6:30 p.m. is a wonderful time. Dawn and dusk are two beautiful times for your Kriya. But of course, I know you will be tired. I understand that. So then, have an early dinner. Don't go to sleep immediately. After 2 hours, do some writing, reading, and then meditate. It's not a good idea to meditate with a full stomach or practice any Kriya. This is a practical question, so I'm giving you a practical answer. But I'm sure you will have some holidays, no? One doesn't work throughout the week. When you have holidays, try to practice in the morning, at least, early in the morning. The best time to practice Kriya, when everything is quiet and silent and there is energy in the air, is around 4:35. Then you have to be careful, you might feel sleepy during the day. It will take some time to adjust. Evening is okay. You can also do Kriya or any other form of meditation at midnight. But there is a problem there, two problems. One is a practical problem. If you are a married person, you might get a divorce very fast. If you get up at midnight and sit down and make noises. The other practical problem is that after that you may not be able to get back to sleep because the mind becomes so active and fresh. If you can sort that out, then midnight is a good time to meditate. This is a very personal question. The good thing there is no name. So, my dad is suffering from a medical condition called dementia, which is memory loss. He can't do his prayers. So as a son, I am praying for him. Is there any specific prayer which I can recite for his recovery, well-being? This disease doesn't have any cure, true. Dementia doesn't have any cure. They say Ayurveda has some solution, I'm not so sure. that you are praying for him is a good thing. There is no specific prayer except that when you pray, pray that he becomes better. This you can do. And I have this understanding that a really sincere and one-pointed prayer does have an effect on us. But when you pray, don't try to tell the Supreme Reality what you want and what you don't want and all that, because it knows, he knows. Say, what is good for me, let it happen, you know best. This is the best prayer. So if you're praying for your dad who has dementia, say, I think his memory should improve. I'm praying. What is best for him? Please give. This is a good prayer. In fact, sometimes I wonder, it's nice to have dementia when you look at the world. Sorry, I don't mean it in a bad way, but in fact, in our yogic practice, we try to forget all the pain that other people give to you, consciously or unconsciously. We develop that dementia so that you think only of the good things that happen and not keep thinking about, oh, that fellow slapped me 20 years ago. That guy who slapped me is dead and gone, but the slap is still in my head. So I want to hit his son. You know what I mean? That way dementia is good to forget. But in practical life, it is very dangerous because you don't know what. In fact, when I am talking, stop and ask people, what did I say now? Some people think dementia. I have a friend in the US who sends me medicines for dementia. He thinks there's something gone. This guy is now. Not true. I just want to initiate the dialogue, which is why I ask. So please pray for him. For some reason I am picking up lined papers. These are two questions, unrelated to each other. Why should we suffer for the past life's karmas in this birth? Then how will you suffer it? Where will you suffer? If you can't remember your past life, how will you suffer it then? You have to suffer. Okay. The second question is how to find your real guru. Now this is a serious question. How to find your real guru. The real is written in capital letters. How do you find? Now, my understanding in this matter is that when I am sincere in my spiritual aspirations, sincere in my spiritual journey and exploration, I don't have to search anywhere. The teacher who is appropriate for me will come to me. Even if you go and search in the Himalayas, you may not find a teacher. You might end up with ganja addicts. Who knows? I mean, I'm not saying all are like that. So, if you're sincere, somehow or the other, a teacher will come. And it can also change. After you have done somewhere, then what was necessary you have got, then somebody else can guide you. There is no such thing. If somebody is in the business of gathering disciples and not allowing them to go away, that's a dangerous teacher. You should be free. Those who want to come, sincere, they will come. Or go somewhere else, it's okay. But one thing is sure, any sincere teacher will tell you. Somebody who went to learn swimming, to a swimming instructor, consider him to be a spiritual teacher, okay? When he went to meet him, he was carrying a basket on his head full of cabbages. So he went to the teacher like this. And he said, can you teach me how to swim? Teacher said, it's actually not so complicated. I can teach you. But first you have to keep down that basket of cabbages before I teach you, because how will you swim otherwise? He said, no, I want to keep the cabbages and swim. He He said, but that is not possible. He said, then okay, I'll find somebody who will teach me how to swim with the cabbages. So, the guru is not the problem. The disciple is the problem. In fact, there are nowadays more gurus than disciples. Yeah, I pick up a conversation in the bus with somebody and that guy is teaching me. Because I'm not wearing any robe, so he thinks this guy is ignorant. So there is no dearth of gurus, there is a dearth of learners. How much more time do we have? It is quite a big. This is the second question by the same person. Is Kriya Yoga practiced the same as Shaktipat or Kundalini Yoga? Now this is a big question. I'll have to explain Kundalini Yoga and what is Shaktipat. The meaning, the simple meaning of Shaktipat is that when a teacher is fully evolved and if he has some energies, it is understood that meditating with the teacher, you also share some of the energies. This is Shakti. The Shakti means energy. Kundalini Yoga. Now this word I try to avoid because if you go to internet, you can raise your Kundalini for $2,000 in 2 hours. So usually I avoid using that word. Since the question asked is this, whether Kriya Yoga has anything to do with this? Yes. Kriya Yoga is to do with arousing the energy. See, I'm again avoiding the word Kundalini. Because it is too much bandied about. And there are shortcuts to raising. We are all fools, we worked very hard. So, in Kriya Yoga, the idea is to lift your awareness from the gross to the subtle and to clear your channels so that when the energy activates, it goes up without hindrance. This is Kriya Yoga. Not the technique, but the function of Kriya Yoga. But then we don't try to push this energy and try to forcibly make it ascend, which is a very dangerous thing to do. Because people come to me who have been taught something and they say, now we cannot control the energy, it is going beyond this is not Kriya Yoga. Today also somebody came to me. I don't know what to do, this energy is going through my left side, right side and so on. So can you help me? I said, you should go to the person who made it happen to you. She was very persistent, so I said, I'll try my best. Do something. So yes, it has to do with the energies. But we do not forcibly or accelerate it through artificial means, but allow it to happen naturally and clean the channels so that when it happens there are no blocks, there are no obstacles. This is what. Yes, it is to do it. I'm 41 years, not me, the person. I'm 41 years old and live with my family in Dubai. Sometime during the pandemic, I have lost the motivation to win and succeed, thank God. I am content with my life, which is more than anybody can ask for, right? I'm content with my life. However, in order to thrive and prosper in this fast-paced life, it is important to have that drive. So are you content with life? Or do you not content with? This is the major question, because if you're not content with life, then if not me, somebody can help you to get the drive. But if you're content with life, I'm a little doubtful understanding this question. Whether you want the drive or whether you're content. If you're totally content with life, then who cares about the drive? So if you want that means truly you're not contented with life. You have to realize that. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, please. That means I'm not contented with life, therefore I want to move forward. I might have lost the drive because I saw in the pandemic that people who were healthy suddenly go into the hospital, they don't come back. So I said, what is life? Why should I get into all this? So I'm content. Okay. But then I'm not really content because I see people around me, they are buying new cars, they are getting new wives. Oh, sorry, not Vishnu speaking. And so I also want to do that. So the question is there a drive? Or if there is a drive, then I think you should forget the idea that you're content. Don't imagine that you're content. Yeah, it's great to be content. But if you're content, you don't want to do it. Forget the idea that you're content. Think, seriously, I'm not content. I need to also, then when that thought comes, you won't need any help from me. You'll start working towards it. I can pray for you. I find it a little difficult to understand this question. Just what did I do when I was born as a woman in the past and this life as a man? I'm sorry, I can't. I face some life challenges and conflicts now. How can I overcome it? Please help me. And it is narrated by somebody whose name is the name of the Supreme Goddess, Bala Tripura Sundari. What did I do when I was born as a woman in the past? I find it a little difficult to understand what you're trying to convey. And this life as a man. Do you remember your past life as a woman? I don't know. So, since the question is not clear, we'll leave it there. Let's not go into what one was in the past. To a beginner, what is the simplest way to do Shakti sadhana or Devi sadhana? Is there any mantra which can be chanted without being initiated? For a beginner, if you want to worship the Supreme Being as the Devi, as the Divine, then there is no need of any initiation into any mantra or anything. You can consider the Supreme in the form of the Devi and start worshipping that image. There is no need of a mantra. If you take a mantra from somebody, it's already an initiation. I'm very particular. Don't pick up mantras by reading books. And it's better you get it from somebody who knows about it. there is no harm in considering the Supreme as the mother of all and worshipping. There is no harm. You can start it maybe when you are really sincere, somebody will give you a mantra which is connected to that. So, it's 8:15. Can't answer all. Why have you disappeared? What do I do?
So you can answer as long as you want.
If you nod, I don't know what you're saying.
I said you can answer as long as you want.
Okay. Meditation and dreams that you get during meditation. Do you get dreams during meditation? And the reality of the same true life. Meditation and the dreams that, look, if you're getting dreams, you're not meditating. But to your second question about reality of life, I want to ask a very simple question. When we dream, do we know that it's a dream? Generally, sometimes yes, but generally, we don't know. It's so real. It's so real that suppose in the dream there's a tiger chasing you. It's so real that when you wake up, you're still looking if the tiger is around, and your heart rate is still, the heart is thudding, you're perspiring. Why? Because in the dream it was so real. Because in the dream you don't know it's a dream. It's a reality, right? And based on this question, I'm just start of expanding on this. So, when you wake up, you say it's a dream, right? Now, what is the guarantee? Since in the dream you don't realize it's a dream, you think it is real, who knows, maybe we are having a long dream here. One day you'll wake up and say, oh my God, what a long dream. You won't believe it now because you're dreaming, right? Think about it. Sometimes. Seriously, think about it. Just as when you dream, you won't believe it's a dream, it's real. Now you say, no, this is real. Who knows if it's in a long dream? Second, when you go into deep sleep, you don't remember anything. There is no dream, there is no waking state, there is nothing. But still you are alive. Somebody is there who is in deep sleep. Who is this entity? Who is in deep sleep? Who is now there when I am awake? Who is also witnessing the dreams? There is one being. That being is your central being, your true identity. Not the states. States can change. But that being doesn't change. He's always witnessing. That witness is your true being. Think about it. You don't have to accept it. Go home and think about it. Is it true? Is there a being who is watching my dream? Yes, of course. Is there a being who is also there when I am not aware of anything in deep sleep? Yes, because when I wake up, I say that was a blissful dream. Who was enjoying the bliss? That point I don't know, but when I wake up. So there is a being which is watching, the witness. And that witness is our true self. You cannot see the witness because it is the witness. You see, look, I can see the whole hall because I have eyes, right? The proof that I am the seer is that I see. But I can't see my own eye, can I? Yeah, I can see a reflection in the mirror, but that's not real. I can't turn around and look my own eye, but I know I have an eye. Why? Because it sees many things. In the same way, there is a witness in us which sees everything. I cannot turn around and see the witness. I can only be aware that it is a witness. Again go home and think, homework. What is this fellow saying? In Malayalam we have in Kerala they sing something called Harinama Sankirtanam. Sankirtana means actually Kirtan, but it is heavily loaded with philosophy. There is one particularly which says, only people who know Malayalam will understand. Kannina kanna manamagum kanna, adina kannai, Kannina kannu manamagum, adina kannai idunna purul, jnanannariyumalav anandamendu Hari Narayanaya Namaha, which means the eye of the eye is the mind. How wonderful it would be if I realized the eye which is also watching the mind. Hari Narayana. So, with one more question, I'm going to end this session. Because I think slowly from Jagrati we are moving towards Shushupti. It is deep sleep. So, you know why it happens? There is a calming effect that happens, right? There is a calming effect that happens. I know sometimes even if you don't agree with me or disagree or agree, both, but you do feel something quiet and calm. This fellow is very cool, right? Now what happens, if your mind is not purified enough, instead of going to a higher state, it slips into sleep, which is normal. So when the mind becomes clear and purified, then instead of slipping into sleep, it goes into a higher state of consciousness. Now I think it's slipping into the other side. The last question. How do you track the progress of your disciple over the years after you initiate, post-Diksha? First of all, let me tell you, I've been saying this for many years, I don't have any disciples. Okay. However, if somebody who has taken Kriya or meditation from me considers himself or herself as my disciple, I'm okay with that. Okay? In that case, we have our own Google Maps. Just as you have Google Maps, we also have our own Google Maps. So every individual who has in some way taken a spiritual practice, now you'll get worried, spied on and known where the person is heading. Because not for your benefit, but for the other person's benefit. So when somebody comes to me and says, please promise that you will not leave me even after many lives, I say, watch out what you are saying. If I say, yes, I am haunting you always. If I say, no, you're upset. So just be careful what you're asking. I hope I have answered this question. So if you allow me now, I would like to stop. Some of you must be coming for the retreat, I'm sure. And those who are coming for the retreat, if anybody is here, and if you think you're coming also for being initiated into Kriya, please put up your hands. I thought so. Anyway. Okay. Let's see. So, Namaskar, thank you very much. And there be peace. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Which means may the whole world be at peace. Now what? I can go?
Thank you, sir. We are ever so grateful for your words of wisdom and the interesting question and answer session. Ladies and gentlemen, we request you to remain seated till the chief guest and dignitaries leave. Prasad counters have been set up outside. We request you to, thank you, sir. We request you to move out in an orderly fashion so that each one gets prasad and we avoid chaos.